All right, so in your calculator, you see second, you see alpha. 2 to the right from alpha is stat. Yes. Is it one of mine or do you? Let me just give you one of these right now. Did everybody get my calculator for it? I just give batteries. I haven't checked it yet. If you have an Inspire, good luck. I don't know how to tell you right now. I can tell you in 2 seconds. I just don't know the first button you push. If you have an Inspire, you might just want to hold off. So when you go to stat, how many people have an Inspire in here? Word. Okay. Awesome, because I'm ignorant with Inspire. Okay, so stat. The first option is edit, so you basically just hit enter. Now, I don't know if you have anything in your graphs or not, or in your list or not, but you should see something that says like L1, L2. Does anybody have anything in there? All right, if you do, you have to highlight, like click up until it actually is like highlighting this part and hit clear, not delete. And it should just wipe out that list for you. All right, so in list 1, we're in here editing. I want you to type the numbers we just did to, what was it, in order, where did I start with 3? What were the numbers I just gave you? 3, 5, 6, 4, 2. Yeah. Go all the way to the point, like, I'm going to come there, but see where this is L1? You have to be all the way up here where it's highlighting that before you hit clear and then hit enter.
Once you get there, you have to click clear, then enter.
Did you get it? Yeah. Okay. And some of you are actually going to delete yours sometimes. There's a really quick, easy way to get out of that too. So we're typing 3, 5, 6, 4, 2. You're all about to 3, 5, 6, 4, 2. You're all about to love me and hate me at the exact same time. I don't care either way. Stat. So go back to where we started. Your number's already in there. Now this time, I want to make sure that you go over 1 from the top. What are you asking? The ones we did on the 3, 5, 6, 4, 2. So you go to stat calc, which is over 1. The first option says 1 bar stat. It kills me when people don't understand what this means. How many variables are we dealing with right now? We're only dealing with 1. So that is 1 variable and the calculations that go with it. So 1 variable stat. And hit enter. And it should pull up this list that says like this. This is asking which list would you like me to find statistics of, and you want it of the first one because that's where we just put them. But second one, look above the number 1 on your calculator, is L1. Don't literally type an L and then a 1. So you do second 1, which would make L1 come here if it's not already there, which it probably is. Don't ever put anything in frequency list. That just means we wanted the list more than once. And then hit calculate. So in front of us, is everybody there with me? Because if you're not, I need to get you there before I have this conversation. And I will tell you, usually I don't give you all this early, but in this year I'm going to. The very first thing that's up there. Did I pick the right numbers? 3, 5, 6, 4, 2. Oh, I didn't do it at the right list. I didn't change mine. All right, the very first thing you see on that screen is X with a bar over it. What did I tell you X with a bar over it is? The mean. So that first number is your mean. What is the number below it? The sum of all my X's. If I added up all my X's, that's the number I get. The third one is if I added all the X squareds. We don't deal with that with this class, but that's what it would be. Oh, I didn't finish with the one earlier. That makes sense. What did I not do when we stopped here? I said 10 divided by 4 was 2.5, but what do we not do with that? What does that give me? So the first one is mean. Second one is adding up all the X values. The third one is adding up all the X values squared. So what is that fourth one? The sample standard deviation. So do you need to draw this chart every time I ask you to find the standard deviation? No, you plug it in your calculator and your calculator gives you the answer and you don't ever have to do that. I need you to understand what we did there because a lot of questions get asked about concept and how it like reacts to things and you need to understand how it works. But the number, you just go to your calculator, does it for you. The one below it is actually population standard deviation. If we didn't divide by n minus 1 and divided by n, I'll get there later. Don't worry about that. The last one on the front screen is n, which is just what? How many there are. Keep going down. What are the last things it gives you? That is your 5-number summary. So if ever in my class I give you a set of data, 5 numbers, 700 numbers, I don't care. Type in your calculator, go to this, and it gives you your 5-number summary, your mean, and your standard deviation, and you don't ever have to calculate anything of that by hand at all. So that is like your best friend now. Make sure that you know how to do that, because if you try to, I always have people who get to like a first quiz and they try to do everything by hand. Don't do it by hand. I'm telling you where to do it. Calculator does it for you. I want to show you this because I want you to understand how we can start using this later. I want to do this chart using the calculator and using the list that we just went to. So go to Stat Edit again. If you have stuff in your other lists, clear them out. So from what I have on the board, what should I put in list 2? 4, and I'm just putting 4 in every single one of those. It's beside a number. So to get this column, instead of typing it in, highlight up here where it says L2 or L3. Everybody with me? So go up to where it says L3. And what do I want that list to do, like mathematic calculation? It's taking my what?
It's your L2 minus your L1.
But L1 minus L2? Because I'm more worried about you getting the concept of being able to use a table. And it gives you -1, 1, 2, 0, -2. So then my list 4, I would come here. I want to write this out just in case people go back and look at the video or whatever. Yeah. So here I would have typed in L1 minus L2. Here I type in what?
L3.
Just because that looks funny. So if I hadn't told you how to do all this stuff, I now need to do what with my list 3 or my list 4? What is this? These are easy numbers. Could you look at it and figure it out in your head? Yes. But how could I do that? I could go to stat, calc, one variable stat of list 4, and it tells me that the sum of that list is 10. So I just need you to start to kind of get used to how we use tables or can use tables in the future, even though you don't need to use this table to find standard deviation. Questions? While I'm dealing with calculator stuff, let's retype in list 1. Everybody get into list 1 and let me say it, and everybody type it at the same time so that it's easier to do it that way. So go list 1, then we're going to retype. Anybody not ready? All right, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 7, 12, 14. Let's add another one there. 25. So that should be your list 1. I gotta retype it in, so I'm doing this with you. That would be a terrible histogram, but we're gonna make one.
Wait, really quick, what did you want this to decide to?
Nothing.
So clear.
Yeah, that's fun. You are going to go to second stat plot, which is you're hitting the y equals button, but it's stat plot, very, very top left. And you've got these options with different plots. If any of your plots are on except plot 1, turn it off. So you just click on it and then go to off. So I'm just going to show that under plot 1, I want it to be on. If it's not, you just literally select it and hit enter, and it just selects it over. And then we've got all these options for type. Which one of those looks like a histogram? The third one. And then it says X list. That just says, hey, what do you want me to make a graph of? I want that to be list 1. Frequency always stays at 1. And then hit graph. How many people see the graph there? How many people don't see the graph there? Okay, that worked out well. If ever you don't, you always have to hit zoom 9. Okay, I need to see yours then. All right. Everybody, if yours doesn't look good, clear out and hit zoom, which is the top middle button, and then the number 9, and it's going to fix about 70% of issues if you ever have one. It resets the entire window for you based off of what it thinks you want. And it's like 2 awkward bars right now. Right? Is everybody's 2 awkward bars right now? No, that is not my list 1. Still trying to graph list 4.
Should our list 3 and list 4 and stuff include?
It doesn't matter. You have a really big bar on the left. The next bar is probably 1. The next bar is twice that big. You've got 2 gaps, and then 1 more. If you hit trace, which is at the top up here, hit trace. Where does it have that first bar starting? 2. It is saying the next bar starts at what number? 6.6. The next bar starts at 11.2 if you're scrolling right through trace. In that first bar that starts at 2, how many numbers are in there? 8. So it's showing you this. This is telling you the lower class limit. This is the next lower class limit, just like when we draw it out. And as you click through them, it tells you how many are in each one. Now, it picked this class width for you. So if we want to change our class width, go to Window, you've got an X min, which is telling you where your graph's going to start. Eventually, we might even change that. But right now, we want to change X scale. That is your class width. So right now, it has our class width as what? 4.6. Let's just change it to 6. Hit enter and then hit graph again. And it changed your graph. Now it's 1 big bar and then 3 that are all 1 height. So if you want to change you can basically decide what your class width is, and then now you can manipulate your calculator to do it for you instead of graphing it out yourself, which is really great in the fact that if you have a bunch of them, you don't have to figure out how many are in each class. It does all that for you. Where are you?
I'm lost. My graph has a bunch of lines on it.
Go to y equals and clear them out. You have stuff in your y equals. Like you're trying to graph horizontal lines in your y equals. What happens here is now you can very easily manipulate altering your histogram. In the future, I'm going to let you make your histogram however you want sometimes, which means you can sit here and manipulate through it. There are benefits to that, but we just haven't talked about them yet. Your homework. I might add to it. I'm going to post it online, but I might have one thing that's asking about like mean versus median that I put in there. But the big part of your homework that I want you to do is I want you to attempt SOCs comparing. So I'm going to give you 2 graphs and ask you to compare. Things that I am looking for are vocab, interpret, context, compare words, and numbers. Now, sometimes it's harder to do numbers than others, but you need to think like this when you do your homework of filling out a chart that for each of those letters, SOCS, you have vocab words, you interpret to the reader what that vocab word means, you pull in context. You're going to have compare words now because you're going to compare one graph to the other and numbers to justify that. And I understand that we have not do it. you're going to write it, but like mentally, did I do these things? Like we're actually going to go through tomorrow and do this. So like mentally be thinking, did I do that checklist as you write it? So like you're doing a written just like we did the homework, but it's going to have compare words now because it's going to be two of them together. Have we done a compare? No. So I am throwing you straight into trying it. You shouldn't be terrible. You're basically saying, I'm going to do exactly what I did from the homework, except now I'm comparing two graphs in one statement. Some of you will get very lengthy with this, and that's why this is the majority of your homework is this one problem. If I add in other stuff, it's just going to be mean versus median stuff. I just got to double check the book work. So I'm going to have to post on my weekly thing what the actual homework is. Questions about that?